You are welcome to yet another episode of HN What's Your Say? The #1 listening show, where we discuss real issues with real people like you. We are still featuring R. Kelly. Real name Robert Sylvester Kelly. Also known as the R&B King. It's no coincidence that the few times we get to hear people come out to address acts of racial imbalance and discrimination in our country, is always when they are trying to sail a particular narrative that supports a selfish agenda to benefit no one else but themselves. Sadly, by the time this is realized, the movements have already achieved their usually short-term objectives, and even if the support is lost, the damage is already done. The most recent example being the Black Lives Matter campaign, which started looking like a movement meant to defend black lives and their rights and freedoms, only later to be discredited by quick thinkers led by American author Candace Owens. According to Candace Owens and team, it has come to their observation that every 4 years towards election time here in the United States, movements that portray black lives as a sort of endangered species begin to crop up, and these are usually politically driven campaigns aimed at soliciting the black American vote for the next presidential bid, with no real desire to protect the rights of the African American people. But because the politicians know well that the shortcut into the black people's hearts is through such strategic campaigns that pretend to care about their rights and freedoms, they will stand in this gap and show concern that doesn't really exist in the real sense. By the time the Black Lives Matter campaign was exposed as a political tool for the other selfish groups, it had taken deep root, and the remnants of its false gospel will forever exist in many years to come, and its misguiding effects among many people will prevail. Of course, it's a good thing to have black lives recognized and people that matter too. But not only when it's a strategy to benefit the oppressor. This is what the BLM movement critics are against. Such movements come with a more systemic kind of racism that could easily go undetected for a very long time. Listening to former Sun-Times journalist and renowned anti-R. Kelly activist Jim Derogatis speak to CBS Chicago and suggest that the black women are the least believed people in this country, just so he can use the opportunity to officially call R. Kelly a monster and hopefully sell multiple copies of his book against R. Kelly entitled Soulless breaks my heart. This man has invested his whole lifetime in trying to bring R. Kelly to his knees. He went as far as writing a book about him and now sees a great opportunity of selling millions of copies if R. Kelly is given a life sentence. Conveniently, he decides to use black women as a selling point for his agenda to destroy the R&B king, portraying them as another endangered group he has never cared about after all. Jim Derogatis' name does not appear anywhere among the people who have recognized the imbalance in social and economic opportunities between white-dominated and black-dominated communities. He did not come up to advocate that the RICO statute, which could be targeting poor young black communities who are more prone to be involved in gang-related activities, be removed. He wasn't even anywhere in the mix of the George Floyd scandal, that saw a black man's neck knelt on until death on the streets of the same country he lives in. But when it conveniently makes his long-term investment in hating on R. Kelly a profitable venture, he now cares about the black women so much. Derogatis. When it's convenient for the record label Sony and their government counterparts to claim to care much about black women in order to take down R. Kelly, they now all of a sudden raise their voice. We know well Sony is the leader at making black women look like mere objects to be used obscenely in their music productions. And if anything, it was in the desire of Sony that R. Kelly's music takes the direction it was in. They made R. Kelly the singer and should be owning up in any mistakes he could have made as an artist. Even the shows where they say the women met him were organized and managed by Sony, with most of the proceeds going to the record company. Just because they are conveniently interested in taking down R. Kelly, they now claim to care so much about the black women they say are so endangered. If it was protecting R. Kelly in their current interest, trust me, the fight would be going the other way around. The narrative would be probably saying the African American artists have been made a target for unfair criminalization to destroy their careers in order to reduce the number of successful black people on the continent. But because their current problem is R. Kelly, who suddenly visited the Bank of America only recently, only to find all his money gone, taken out by Sony, and demanded that he be compensated, it's him they are after, and the women provide the perfect excuse for this takedown. Very wicked how these corporations operate. Just when do we plan to realize we are being taken for a ride each time we have such scandals being handled like this? Why do we accept to be used as vessels for commercial enterprises and people to sell their agenda and products, pursue their political goals and more, while using us as apparatus to be dumped after their objectives have been achieved? Today R. Kelly is being used as the sacrificial lamb and we are helping. He beat his case in 2008 for God's sake and nothing of it should have been brought back. They claimed he obstructed justice, but it's been proven he didn't. If no justice was obstructed, then why would the 2008 verdict be questioned? It's not R. Kelly's fault that he was found not guilty. He wasn't the judge and did not issue the verdict to himself. The only time such a trial would hold water is if it had been proved that R. Kelly did obstruct justice. Otherwise, it's like the U.S. court is going against its own self and giving itself a vote of no confidence. And this shows how determined they were to find R. Kelly guilty this time round, even before trial, that they were willing to discredit their own verdict. This video of Jim Derogatis' interview with CBS Chicago purposely had comments turned off. And so are many videos of this sort that try to protect bad intentions from those being interviewed follow the same trend. He is definitely afraid of the criticism that may arise from his false claims to care about black women that he doesn't even look at the way God created him to. By doing this, playing his cards against R. Kelly right, Derogatis has scammed the world into believing R. Kelly is the monster he calls him. One strange thing about Derogatis, however, is his repeated lie to the masses how he received the said tape in his mailbox from an anonymous sender. Why isn't he held accountable to tell who gave him the tape? Why does the court choose to believe him yet not make an effort to bring him to the stand to explain his part of the story? There is no way the court should be taking his information as true without hearing it directly from him under oath and on the stand. I think it's high time we started rejecting this false propaganda of black women being an endangered group like they were animals in a park, and instead started using our heads to understand why these stories are arising now at a time when R. Kelly is Sony's new problem. We should also be questioning why the R. Kelly story is taking the very same turn as Michael Jackson's, especially when both were Sony's biggest problems before the takedowns. If you wish to take part in a live interview on this channel discussing any of these topics, let us know by emailing us on sashahnnewsroom@gmail.com for scheduling. That is all we had for you today on HN What's Your Say? To keep updated whenever we post a new video, subscribe to this channel now. Also remember to hit the bell icon and enable notifications. And feel free to share your opinions with us in the comment section below, and let us know if you would like us to publish your views in our next release. We value all our subscribers' opinions.